Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for making yourself available and joining us at 5 o'clock in the evening. And this class has been long overdue. We've been talking since the last 6 months, but please accept our Dandavat Pranam and humble obeisances from everybody who have joined the group, Prabhuji, and are about to join. We meet every day, Prabhuji, at the same time. We start on time and finish on time, and it's a small group, but we meet 7 days in a week. So we've been doing it since the last 3.5 years. We haven't stopped from there. So thank you very much for joining in. And we can start with the Mangalacharan. Shashwin, are you able to do the Mangalacharan today for us? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yutapatakabalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sakrajadam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvairam Swavadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Nabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanushrute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanjakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvaya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Shashwin. Thank you so much for doing the wonderful Mangalacharan. Thank you all for joining in. Today we have a new devotee who has joined us, and we are very grateful to him for making himself available. Prabhuji has been practicing Krishna consciousness since the last 20 years, and currently he is living as a brahmachari at the Bhaktivedanta Manor since the last year. He's completed his Bhakti Shastri course, and he has traveled to lots and lots of places. And he takes part in the winter marathon for book distribution. And I did it, and I know how difficult it is. I did it only for half an afternoon. So, Prabhuji, you have really done a big task. And currently his service at the manor is Sankirtan, and he really loves that. So without much ado, I mean, there's lots to introduce Prabhuji with, but I think that's a very brief introduction. So Prabhuji, we hand over to you. Kindly let us know if you want us to read something or... if you can stop sharing the screen, I just want to mute okay, I can mute from here. Okay, I have muted everybody, so
right.
We can start.
Okay, sure. I will want everybody to participate for sure. I will ask different devotees to read something. I do like when devotees come together and share Krishna Katha. So here we're reading from Canto 2, Chapter 5. The chapter is entitled Krishna is, the cause of all causes. So I was asked to speak on text 18. And it's always nice to refresh our minds of how we start from a verse, what's happening in this chapter, what are we going to gain the most. So here we can see these in the first part of the section, we can see how this is a conversation between Narada Muni and Brahma. And Narada is asking quite intelligent questions. He's asking things like transcendental knowledge about the soul, about the super soul, about the universe, how it's manifested. So here it's revealed that Narada Muni is a self-realized soul. How is it that he's acting this way? A self-realized soul shouldn't. It seems like he has poor fund of knowledge. But that's actually not quite the case. Actually, it's actually all by Krishna's arrangement. And I go to speak on how that is to be so. So I guess if somebody wants to kind of read one of these texts, and I'll explain a little bit more about each of these questions. So anybody kindly would like to read text 1?
I can read, Prabhuji. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
please go for it.
Questions by Narad Muni to Brahma if he is the supreme controller and creator. Text 1. Sri Narad Muni asked Brahmaji, O chief amongst the demigod, O firstborn living entity, I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Please tell me that the transcendental knowledge which specifically directs one to the truth of the individual soul and the super soul.
So in this first text, it's very nice, how, first of all, is offering respects to recognize the authority, It's not just a question of gaining knowledge, This is the difference between a spiritual conversation and material conversation. When we look at a material conversation, then its nuance and its kind of approach, it's usually in gain with something, that they want something in return. But here, our devotional service is described how it should be of a submissive mood. It should be of one of inquiring to know the truth, And yeah, it's interesting how it's actually Prabhupada mentions in the purport to this verse of how it's actually a parampara system. Brahma got it from the knowledge from Krishna, and here he's passing it down. And it's explained how Narada Muni asked about these things because he's curious, he had some doubts. You're the creator, but it seems you've done a lot of severe austerities to do this. Surely there must be somebody higher than you. So then he's inquiring about this. Yes, like this. Okay, somebody want to read text number 2?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I can read.
Yes, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Text 2. My dear Father, please describe factually the symptoms of this manifest world. What is its background? How is it created? How is it conserved? And under whose control is all this being done? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the dress is already lining up. He's recognized Brahma as the father. And what is the duty of the father? The father imparts that knowledge unto the son. He obviously knows that the father knows better than I do. Prabhupada explains in the purport to this verse is like a business, you're the director of this management. You're running this whole operation. You've been passed down this kind of role to take charge of the universe, to have progeny in the universe. So surely you must know how things are managed, how things are running. He's asking for, it's something like of how the day-to-day business running of it. So this is inquiry of how things are managed, how it's working, and the systems in place. So it's a similar concept to a business, to the universe. Text number 3. Okay. Maybe I guess
I can read.
Yeah, go ahead.
My dear Father, all this known to you scientifically, because whatever was created in the past, whatever will be created in the future, whatever is being created at present, as well as everything within the universe is within your grip, just like a walnut.
So here is explained how Brahma, it's explained that Brahma lives for a very long time, you know. It's like it's unimaginable. Like we live for like 60, 70 years old, you know. Here in the UK we have the Queen, you know, and the Queen lived for a long time. The kings, you know, lived for 100 years, and I'm like, wow. But here Brahma, we're giving the description that a day in Brahma is like some hundred of thousands of years. Prabhupada says this in the purport, and it's like he'll know what's happening. He knows what's happened. He knows what's going to happen because he's also being empowered by Krishna. It's explained how in one lecture Prabhupada mentions that when the conversation was happening between Krishna and Arjuna in the Gita, Krishna was explaining things to him, before Arjuna. But how is it that Brahma got this knowledge? Krishna wasn't in front of him. So it's described how actually Krishna was presenting everything through the heart. It's described how Krishna is the Chaitya Guru. He's imparting that knowledge to him. And in this way, he is getting the knowledge. What is that verse? Tesham satayuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. The Dami buddhi yogam tam ye mamu yantite. The Dami is giving him that intelligence, imparting him. Text number 4.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please go ahead.
My dear Father, what is the source of your knowledge? Under whose protection are you standing? And under whom are you working? What is your real position? Do you alone create all entities with material elements by your personal energy?
So here in this text, Narada is having some doubts, you know, like what's happening, what's the situation? It's like I thought I knew you as a creator, but it seems that there's more to he's wanting to know more in the picture. He has like little snippets, but he wants to know more in this text. So this is just the first few questions. He has more questions. So it's described in the first 8 from text 1 to 8. First question. So we'll move on to the next other text. Next. Yep. Somebody want to read text number 5? Otherwise I can read. Okay, maybe I'll go for reading this one then. Text number 5. As the spider very easily creates the network of its cobweb and manifests its power of creation without being defeated by others, so also you yourself, by employment of your self-sufficient energy, create without any other's help. So I've mentioned before that how Krishna is imparting that knowledge. So here Brahma is explaining that he also has his various energies that Krishna has imparted him to take on this service. It's like, how should I say this? Yeah, it's something like a business, you know. I described earlier on that Brahma is the director, but in a director, we also have the CEO in that thing. So he's being given energy and he can take and bring it. He has some control in this matter, basically. Text number 6. Anybody want to read text number 6?
I can read, Prabhuji. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
please go ahead.
Text 6, whatever we can understand by the nomenclature, characteristics, and feature of a particular thing, superior, inferior, or equal, eternal or temporary, is not created from any source other than that of your lordship. Thou so great.
So here in this text, we recognize how Brahmacharya is acting. He recognized Brahma, his position in this way, and that is he recognized that the source is coming from you in terms of creation. Obviously, we know Krishna is the real cause of things in this way. Text number 7.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Text number 7. Yet we are moved to wonder about the existence of someone more powerful than you when we think of your great austerities in perfect discipline, although your good self is so powerful in the matter of creation. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
So he has some doubts. He noticed that he's doing some great austerity for somebody else. He knows that he's very powerful, but he's thinking, where's this all coming from? It's like a business. He wants to know the financial situation, where's all the money coming from? How is this working? Whose direction is it all happening? Like this. So he's wanting to know more again, more pictures, more. It's like sides of the story. He sees one side of the story, but he's not seeing the other side of the story. There's more to the story, and so he's wanting to inquire about that. Text number 8.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Oh, should I, Prabhuji?
Yeah, whoever. Yeah, go ahead.
My dear Father, you know everything, and you are the controller of all. Therefore, may all that I have inquired from you be kindly instructed to me, so that I may be able to understand it as your student. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So it's a similar position to Arjuna. Shashastra ham sadimam tvam prapanam. Now I'm your disciple. Now I'm your student. I'm prepared to take that knowledge. One thing that I always like to know in spiritual life is that I've learned that we have a lot to learn. He knows that I don't know everything, but at least be kind to me. I don't have that knowledge as much as you do, but by your mercy, by your great how shall I say kindness, compassion, then I can take this knowledge. We should always take that humble and submissive mood. In this way, it can be we don't get puffed up also when really receiving this knowledge. I was just hearing recently when I was listening to a lecture by Shukdev Prabhu, and he was mentioning how there was this a rishi, a sage, and he met with Brahma. I don't remember the name of the sage. Something Bhagadatta. Anyway, it's explained how he was holding this leaf, I think in the beginning of the universe, and he was there. He's been there since for so many, I don't know, so much time period that he's been there for like at least 14 Brahmas, Obviously, we know Brahma dies and then another Brahma comes, Brahma's position. So he's been there for about 14 Brahmas, and basically he's asking something. I think Brahma asked something, can I give you something? And the rishi is like, me, I don't need anything. He's like, I'm self-satisfied. So he gets a little bit annoyed. And then all of a sudden, I think it's the rishi, can't remember the details, but he basically gets transported to another universe. And then this Brahma is like, hey, I'm Brahma. And well, there's two Brahmas in that situation. And what happens is that the Brahma is like, I'm Brahma, I have 16 heads, I'm very powerful. Like, who are you? I'm like, no, I'm Brahma. It's like, I have 4 heads. Like, don't you know me? And then it keeps going to another universe for a 32-head Brahma. It's like, same again. I'm really more powerful. And then again, they transport to another universe. And then it's like, wow, it's like they're baffled. And then in this way, the sage, he learned a very important thing, that no matter how far we come in spiritual life, no matter how much transcendental knowledge we have, there is always going to be somebody who's more smarter than us. There's always going to be some more intelligent than us. So this is also another way to curb the pride, to not get puffed up in this way. So it's a reciprocation of knowledge. It's like something like a magnet. Sometimes when you put a positive and a positive together, it won't go together, it won't attract. But when we put these two together, when the plus, then it comes together. So it has to be like that, otherwise the transfer of knowledge won't happen, especially not smoothly. Moving on. So here now Brahma comes in and now makes his response, which is just 2 texts. Who would like to read text number 9?
Renuka Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. The Lord Brahma said, "My dear boy Narada, being merciful to all, including me, you have asked all these questions because I have been inspired to see into the powerness
Right.
of the Almighty personality of Godhead."
Somebody can read text 9, it's very short, I guess. There's no need to.
Shall I continue?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Okay. Whatever you have spoken about me is not false, because unless and until one is aware of the personality of Godhead, who is the almighty truth beyond me, one is sure to be illusioned by observing my powerful activities. Hare Krishna.
When I was reflecting on this, when I was meditating on this, I find it truly powerful. It's like when a person goes to university, when a student inquires about different topics, obviously the material topics, usually the teacher is just very quick to respond and is already feeling the position of the thing. But here it's interesting when we look at this conversation of the student and the master, of the teacher, Brahma is saying essentially that, wow, you're merciful to me. Actually, I'm so inspired that you've now want to take up to looking about Krishna, Swakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanam, that this is so amazing that this Krishna Katha is inspiring, that I want to look into this more now. It's just the dynamics is very interesting to see that he's also humbled himself before the student, that's also nice. Because the master is not just the master of the student, but the master is also the servant of his master too. That's also nice too. Yeah. And here in text 10, Brahma saying, yeah, what you said about me technically is true. I am powerful. I am running the show of this universe. But there is something beyond me, like you have said. And as you're aware, there is Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate truth. Satyam Param Dhimahi is the ultimate absolute truth. And it's very easy if you just saw me doing these so many powerful things, but not having that full complete knowledge, then you'll easily be confused that I'm just the only powerful creator. In this way, it would actually be a very offensive if one would just see Brahma as the powerful creator and not Krishna. Therefore, we say in text 2 of the offenses, the 10 offenses, how does it go? To consider the names of demigods like Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva to be equal or independent of Lord Vishnu. Vishnu is the proprietor, he's the controller. He is really the one who's imparting everything to this. And we'll see this as we come in further text too. Yeah. Okay, who wants to go next? Text 11.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, may I?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Text 11. I create after the Lord's creation by his personal effulgence, known as the Brahma Jyoti, just as when the sun manifests its fire, the moon, the firmament, the influential planets, and the twinkling stars also manifest their brightness.
So here, Brahma is clearly, explicitly explaining here that I'm not the first creator. There's generally a misconception when you look into like the Hindu community, and it's like, it's actually Brahma. Brahma is very powerful, creating so many things, But here Brahma is explicitly saying that I create after the Lord's creation. Krishna has always been there. Krishna explains in the Gita actually, if I look into it correctly, in chapter 2, Krishna explains, where is it? here Krishna explains in chapter 2, text 12, Natva evaham jatu nasam. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So here it's evident that Krishna has been there from the beginning, and actually there is no beginning and end, actually, technically. It's just like what we see as the beginning and end. Because usually when I go for Sankirtan, people are asking about these topics. They're saying, how is God, where's the source of that? How is God, who started God? But that's a wrong question to ask in the beginning. How does this question come about? This question comes about because of our experience. Because our experience, we always see these 6 kind of transformations. Sat vikar, sat avikar. Something starts, something grows, something remains, it kind of dwindles, and then it kind of it goes into a state of illusion, I think, or kind of disintegrates basically in that sense. So when we see these things, we naturally kind of put a position on Krishna. So the first thing we have to get correct is our level of experience. We can't put our level of intelligence on Krishna. It won't work like this. It's something I realize it's like a science experiment. When we are conducting science experiments, usually there's variables, some tangents, and usually it's measurable, it's containable. But here in this science experiments that we are doing when we are inquiring about the Lord, it's in one sense, it is scientific because there's a descending knowledge, there's the Guru Sadhu Sastra. But in another sense, it is not scientific. Do you know how? That is through the mercy. See, because we are very tiny in our capacity to understand something. We are limited by our tools, by our resources, by our intelligence. So then it's really going to be impossible to understand something that's unlimited. It's just like, how can it something, even let's say we put the spiritual side aside and we just look at it from a logical perspective, that the limited wants to understand the unlimited doesn't make sense. But what makes sense is if the unlimited gives power and capacity for the limited to understand the unlimited. That then is powerful. That is something that's possible in this experiment. So that's the part that's not scientific, that part of mercy. It's explained in the Gita also how Arjuna, when he wanted to understand the universal form, Krishna is saying, you're not really going to get it. But then Arjuna is saying, actually, what you can do, you're really supreme, right? You're the supreme personality of Godhead. Everything is working by your nature, by your control. So therefore, if I can't understand it, make me understand you. Isn't that powerful? That's one key component that we should meditate upon, reflect upon. That we really, it's by our endeavors alone we can't understand Krishna. But if Krishna, if he lacks, he can empower us and he can take this knowledge and impart to us and expand our horizons to understand him. But even then, we got to be careful how much we can take up on board. Okay, text number 12.
Text 12. I offer my obeisances and meditate upon Lord Krishna, Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead, whose invincible potency influences them, the less intelligent class of men, to call me the supreme controller.
Yeah, so Brahma is explaining that you'll be mistaken if you call me supreme controller, because my power doesn't come from me, my powers come from Krishna. And one thing that I like, when he's carrying out his duties in Krishna, for Krishna in making the universe, he's meditating upon Krishna. This is something practical that we can apply in our life. Janmadi asya yato nanyat itarata stratveshna. Tene Brahmadida Adikaveye. He is meditating, he's thinking about Krishna. How many times do we think about Krishna when we go on about doing our tasks and duty? Are we also offering our obeisances when we realize actually it's not done by me really? Are we meditating on Krishna? Is Krishna at the back of our mind? So this part is very powerful meditation. Let us also reflect and take upon this mood of meditating on Lord Krishna. Text number 13.
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Yes, go ahead.
the illusory energy of the Lord cannot take precedence, being ashamed of her position, but those who are bewildered by her always talk nonsense, being absorbed in thoughts of it is I and it is mine.
So obviously we know Maya is an agent of Krishna, and Maya means that which is not, and it is described how Maya is like darkness and Krishna is like the sun. Now, where there is Maya, darkness, darkness cannot last in the presence of sun. You clearly see that within our own experience. We don't generally see darkness. But you know, even it's Brahma saying that even she's sometimes ashamed of our position, you know, to do these things. But she nevertheless does it on behalf of Krishna. This is her duty, it's her service to Krishna. And those who are under influence, bewildered by her, talks all sorts of things, you know, all sorts of nonsense. And one of the nonsense that the thought that comes up, it is I and mine. Obviously, this we know to be a very problematic problem in society and with people in general. And that's a tough nut, tough nut to crack, you know, in his minds. Unless we come under transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge is described as a sword that can pierce through these misgivings, these misinterpretations. Then it's very difficult to break through, and it will be very deeply rooted within the false ego. Yeah, like this. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Okay, text number 14.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Go ahead.
The five elementary ingredients of creation, the interaction thereof set up by eternal time, and the intuition or nature of the individual living beings are all differentiated parts and parcels of the personality of God Vasudeva, and in truth there is no other value in them.
So the five elementary ingredients, as we know, is the earth, water, air, fire, ether. And they're all working by the eternal time. That's Krishna's things. And the nature of the individual living beings, all are all part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And we know that things are happening by Krishna, and Brahma is clearly stating. And in truth, there is no other value in them. That this is what it is, that it's a part of Krishna. And yeah, this is how it's working this way. Okay, so we've broken down a little bit of the conversation. Actually, there's actually 4 more questions. Actually, I've got 4 more answers and replies from Brahma. Maybe we'll just get one person to read 15 to 18, since I know we're a little bit short on time, because I still have a lot more to cover.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
I can.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Mataji.
Text 15. The Vedic literatures are made by and are meant for the Supreme Lord. The demigods are also meant for serving the Lord as parts of his body, and different planets are also meant for the sake of the Lord, and different sacrifices are performed just to please him. Text 16. All different types of meditation or mysticism are means for realizing Narayana. All austerities are aimed at achieving Narayana. culture of transcendental knowledge is for getting a glimpse of Narayan, and ultimately salvation is entering the kingdom of Narayana. Text 17. Inspired by him only, I discover what is already created by him, Narayana, under his vision as the all-pervading supersoul, and I am created by him only. Text 18. The Supreme Lord is pure, spiritual form, transcendental to all material qualities. Yet, for the sake of the creation of material world and its maintenance and annihilation, he accepts through his external energy the material modes of nature called goodness, passion, and ignorance. Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So here we can see how the Vedic literatures, actually all purposes are meant for serving Krishna, are meant for pleasing Krishna. Vedescha sarvaham eva vedyo vedanta krit veda vidchaham. That the Vedas or everything was meant to know about Krishna. In fact, Krishna, it's even explained that I'm the compiler of the Vedas, and that all things, demigods, the Vedic literature, the different planets are meant for the sake of the Lord. Different sacrifices are performed just to please the Lord. Why? Bhoktaram yakatapasam sarva lokamesham. Suryadam sarva bhutanam gyatva mam shantam richyate. He's the proprietor of everything. He's the supreme controller. Naturally, if you own everything, then really it's yours to take it. And we are under this false notion that yeah, this is mine. This is for me to enjoy. This is obviously due to poor point of knowledge that we fail to recognize Krishna. We fail to. We actually, Prabhupada mentions in his pamphlets and his class too, that actually we are a thief, actually, in essence, because we didn't realize the proprietors. And it's explained how actually when we come into this life, we didn't came with anything. But also when we leave it, and when we come to the time of death, we leave with nothing also. So we come with nothing, we leave with nothing. So then how can we claim proprietorship also? That doesn't make sense logically too. So therefore, everything is belonging to Krishna. Here in the text 16 is described how things are made for realizing Krishna. He we're taking it one step further. Not only is it meant for Krishna, it's realizing Narayan, realizing that he's part of our life also, and that we want to enter into the kingdom of God. Narayana Kala Shanta, that Narayan is the all blissful. He's Krishna, and Brahma is saying, really, it's him. I'm inspired by him. What I've discovered, what's happening by me, is actually created by him. Krishna mentions in the Gita that I am like the thread that's hung upon the pearls. That's just amazing that the pearls so powerful. We can see them. Everything is resting. So naturally, there must be somebody to hold those pearls. It's like the creator. Everybody wants to know about the creation. We're amazed to see the moon. We see so many big celebrities like Elon Musk. They want to go to the moon, sending out so many things. But when it comes to the time of understanding who the creator, they're not interested. But creation is created by the creator. If we think just how beautiful creation must be, then how beautiful must the creator be? This creation is, Krishna explains, only a spark of my fragment of my enjoyment, fragment of my pleasure of this creation. It's just amazing. And so here we come to the text itself, text 18. I want to read out the verse. Maybe somebody else can read the verse.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I try?
Yeah.
Okay. Sattvam rajastama iti nirgunyasya gunasayah titi sarga nirodheshu grihitama Mayaya Vibhoho. Shall we do,
yeah.
Can
You
I
do the word for word too.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sattvam, the mode of goodness. Rajaha, the mode of passion. Tamaha, the mode of ignorance. Iti, all these. Nirgunasya, of the transcendence. Gunaha, Trayaha, of free qualities. Sthiti, maintenance. Sarga, creation. Nirodeshu, in distraction. Grihitaha, accepted. Mayaya, by the external energy. Vibhoho, of the Supreme. Hare Krishna.
Let me read the translation to that also. I guess I'll read this one then. The Supreme Lord is pure spiritual form, transcendental to all material qualities. Yet for the sake of the creation of the material world and its maintenance and annihilation, he accepts through his external energy the material modes of nature called goodness, passion, and ignorance. Yeah. I was meditating this quite a bit just recently. I'll show you some of my thoughts. Hang on. It's incredible what I was thinking about this. Let me see. Just bear with me. Yeah, okay, fine. Anyway, I know the gist of it anyway. Yeah, when I was reflecting on the Supreme Lord being pure, being spiritual form, transcendent to all material qualities, it's just really interesting when I had this statement. And every day as a brahmacharya or even as a grihastha, we come to the temple, we see the deities, but do we really take into the fact that he's really pure, the spiritual form, transcendental to all material qualities? We, especially as a grihastha, I know I've also been in the working world. We're surrounded with so many material. We're habituated with the material environment. So many material qualities, and when we come before the deities, at first we sense, yeah, this is the spiritual form. Yeah, this doesn't seem ordinary. The way Krishna is dressed, the way Krishna is beautifully manifesting. Actually, can somebody tell me which deities these are? I also had a little test for you. I think you might recognize these deities.
Hare Krishna. Radha Banki Bihari in Nairobi.
Yeah, Madam Banki Hari. That's just amazing. So, when we come before the deity, it's very important to take this meditation in the spiritual form. We are constantly suffering the kleshas, the three kinds of material natures, Adi Bodhika, Adi Devika, it's kind of painful, but here Krishna is saying, Brahma is saying that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he's pure spiritual form, transcendental. He is providing the solution to our problems, And I was like, I wish I realized that we want to be in front of Krishna all the time, he's spiritual, pure. It's like, amazing. But how many times are we thinking about this? How many times? Because it's also, we hear this often that, yeah, Krishna is not an ordinary form. He's the supreme personality of Godhead, and it'll be offensive if we consider it any less if he was a murti. But sometimes these things are actually going on subtly. It's very easy to actually come on this. How should I say? Kind of going through the motions. In my old times of Krishna consciousness, being 20 years, it was just been mesmerizing for the past 2 months of actually taking more advantage of Krishna consciousness than all my previous years. A devotee could be a person of a neophyte, a devotee could be around for many, many years, so many years, somebody like me, and we could just see the deities and like, wow, this is amazing. This is nice. Now the deities are not just standing there, they're not just before us, but now the deities are coming to us. So it's not a question of just being near to the deities, but it's a question of also being dear to the deities. And in this way, Krishna not only is not only dear to you, now he's coming near to you because he finds you dear. And Krishna says also in the Gita also that one who also preaches my message, one who goes out there and tells about another person, he becomes dear to me. And not only does he become dear to me, but no one else is more dear to me than himself, Sadhyo Vidayam Mayam. That the devotee is always thinking of me and I'm always thinking of him. It's just a really nice reciprocation. It's like something like of the bride and the groom, when it comes before marriage, the groom is thinking of the bride and the bride is thinking in this way, it creates a very strong impression, samskara. So this is one thing that we want to do in our life, is have huge samskaras that we remember Krishna, not only as a deity, but the deity that we most like also. Our issue today, how we can relate, like this. Powerful. Another thing it mentions here is for the sake of creation of the material world and its maintenance and annihilation. It's not that the Krishna wanted to create these things. No, no. It's the saying of man proposed, God disposed. It's by our desire that we want to enjoy separate from Krishna. And Krishna is like, okay, you want to do this, fine. For the sake of it, I'll do it. But don't think I'll be really happy, It's painful, It's like the father and son, the son goes off for whatever reason. The father wants him to come back home. But nonetheless, he gives him the free will, gives him the permission, And these and in a way, we as achievers, as living entities, in one sense, are actually doing still some service to Krishna, actually. Because we're conditioned by the modes, goodness, passion, ignorance. And actually, these things are actually working under the fares of Krishna. So indirectly, we are actually doing some service, but not directly. So we want to do some direct service. And I know I'm very short on time, so I'm just going to kind of rush through actually. The Supreme Lord is the master of the external energy manifested by the three modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. As master of this energy is ever unaffected by the influence of such bewildering energy. The living entities, the jivas, however, are affected by or susceptible to being influenced by such modes of material nature. That is the difference between the Lord and the living entities. The living entities are subjected by those qualities, although originally the living entities are qualitatively one with the Lord. In other words, the material modes of nature, being products of the energy of the Lord, are certainly connected with the Lord, but the connection is just like that between the master and the servant. The Supreme Lord is the controller of the material energy, whereas the living entities who are entangled in the material world are neither masters nor controller. Rather, they being subordinate or controlled by such energy. Factually, the Lord is eternally manifest by his internal potency or spiritual energy, just like the sun and its rays in the clear sky. But at times he creates a material energy as the sun creates a cloud in the clear sky. As the sun is ever increasingly unaffected by a spot of cloud, so also the limited Lord is unaffected by the spot of material energy manifested at times in the unlimited span of the Lord's rays of Brahmajyoti. Jai Prabhupada. So Krishna is Ajita, he is unconquerable. There's no one more superior to him. Matta Paratan Nanyat. That there's no one more superior to Krishna. Krishna is the supreme Lord. And here we can see that he's the controller of the material energy. And he's never going to be entangled by these things. This is a false conception that people think. How can Krishna come into the material world? This doesn't seem possible. But this is Krishna's energy. This is created by him. But at the same time, we have to understand, although it's created by him, it's actually separate. It's not of that same things. Krishna also explains in Gita that although it's in me, I'm not in them. It's separate. It's how would I say, it's simultaneously one and a different Achinta Veda Veda Tattva, you know. Mahaprabhu explains like this. I was going to explain more, but I'm going to skip a little bit forward. Just so that we can get a little bit more. So we can see in these verses from the 18th chapter in the Gita, how we should try to come to the platform of goodness. It's always a struggle. Krishna explains sometimes the goodness can come on top, sometimes passion can come on top, sometimes ignorance can come on top. But it's explained how if we act according to these qualities, of, let's say, a mode of goodness, peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, such and such, these qualities. This is the stage we want to come for, because a Brahmana can see for what it is. He has that illumination, you know. And here Prabhupada mentions, just by hearing Krishna, you're promoted immediately to the platform of goodness. And as soon as you come to the platform of goodness, then tada, at that time, Rajastamo, Baba, then it won't overcome, you know. But even then, mode of goodness is within the material realm. We want to come to Shuddha Sattva, we want to rise above it. Therefore, Krishna is saying that creation's taken place and things should be properly managed. So therefore, in terms of management arrangements, he's then has this arrangement as where Lord Vishnu is in charge of mode of goodness, Lord Brahma is in charge of mode of passion, Lord Shiva of ignorance. And here we can see how things are working. And it's described as the three kind of tertiary colors, red, blue, and yellow, how these are expanding and emanating and permeates. But on the other hand, what we want to do is that we want to come to the mode of goodness, and yeah, so that we can climb onto the mode of pure goodness. One thing that I wanted to share with you, I know I have only like a few minutes, but I'll quickly conclude. This just got me thinking about Pariksha March. I remember last time I was speaking and I was speaking about Pariksha March, and I was thinking about this carefully, and I was thinking, hey, if we look into this pastime more carefully, it's strange because like everybody, if you look at Pariksha Maharaj, Shringi, Somakavisha, everybody has an adverse effect. Nobody seems to be having a positive effect. But here's the difference. This is the difference between a materialist and spiritualist. A materialist can't see past these triangles. They're looking at from the bottom, from the right side, from the left side. It's like there seems to be no solution. But as we know for a spiritualist, where there's a will, there's a way. And what is that will? That's Krishna's will. So he's always seeing that these things can always be turned around, and that he's making me come on top. He's wanting me to be empowered to come with these challenges, these problems in our life. So when such challenges comes, let's try to take to the platform of spiritualists. We should remember different personalities through the past times in the Bhagavatam and how they also turned around situations, just like Pariksha Maharaj. He turned it around, seeing the favor of the Lord. He saw things not for the situation it was, but he saw it as an overview. He saw beyond it. There's three things I want you to take in. That there's an immediate cause, that there's a remote cause, and there's an ultimate cause. Now, as a materialist, they will get caught up in the immediate cause and maybe as far as the remote cause, but they never get to the immediate cause. So we as a spiritualist got to push past that. And when we do that, when we see these, you'll think it as a great blessing. Because this is a blessing in disguise, so powerful. Yeah, I'll show you this slide after this ends, I guess. And this verse that I was speaking is actually, every day I usually listen to Prabhupada's class, and I'm on Canto 1, Chapter 2, on text 27, and I was just coming across this verse, and it's just amazing. Sattvam rajas tama iti prakate gunaisthai yukta para purusha eka ihasya date. The transcendental personality is indirectly associated with the three modes of material nature, namely passion, goodness, and ignorance. And just for the material's creation, maintenance, destruction, he accepts three qualitative forms, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, which we've already explained. But the ultimate benefit one can get from Vishnu is through the mode of goodness. So everything is made for the benefit and made for the purpose of Vishnu. And this brings us on to a verse that actually elaborates to this. It's a famous verse actually. Work as a sacrifice should be done for Vishnu, has to be performed. Otherwise, work will be causing bondage. And therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. In this way, you'll always remain free from bondage. So every day, in every moment of life, we should dedicate our life in service for Krishna. It may not be easy to give up the work, but we can dedicate that work for Krishna. In this way, it's not a material work, but a spiritual work. And I was just thinking today, I think for you, it's Advaita Acharya's appearance day. Obviously, for us, it was yesterday. And I was just thinking how you can go. I was just thinking who's an example of this, who did such sacrifice of doing work satisfaction of Krishna, and that reminded me of Advaita Acharya. It's just amazing, you know. He brought the spiritual world down to the material world. Advaita Acharya, you know, is the Acharya, you know, savior of his Patita Pavan, you know. He saw the suffering of them, like this can't be happening. My Lord, please come down. Only by your mercy can this be changed around. And it's just amazing, you know, it's never been done, you know, in the spiritual as Radha and Krishna, you know. But here we see how he's brought Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just amazing, you know, Advaita Acharya is Sada Shiva and Mahavishnu combined. And Shiva, as we know, is Vaishnava Yatha Shambhu, is the greatest of Vaishnava. So today we should pray to Advaita Acharya to help us in our devotional life, to take on that mood of pleasing Krishna and Radharani. Yeah, if we take such bhakti from a bhakta, then that's really going to make the difference. Just powerful Advaita Acharya. I have much more to say, but I guess we're over time. It is 6 o'clock, and I don't want to take you up any more time. I don't know if we have any more times for Krishna. Actually, I just wanted to conclude with a few points actually. In this chapter, misunderstandings will be the misdirection in our life. Unless we resolve these things, this will also be weak in our spiritual life. I want you to remember that introspection is the inspection of our life. That every now and again, we should try to introspect. Where am I? Where am I going with this? Otherwise, we're just running on the trails and it doesn't seem where our direction is going. So we want to be clear cut also. Questions are the quest to a quintessent life in Krishna consciousness. Quintessent means most perfect. That the questions will bring a new quest, will make it a more adventurous insight internally. Then we're more enthusiastic to know the truth more than anything. And hearing is part of the clearing of the heart, which helps us to rise above the three modes of nature. Just powerful how powerful hearing can be, that it can uproot these weeds and we can really nourish our Bhakti Lata Beach, our devotion service, our Kripa devotional service. So sorry for going over time. Yeah, it was a little bit of rush, and I hope I hope that was inspiring for you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for this class, and you took us through the whole chapter and revised with us what we have done so far. Sometimes that's important to put things in perspectives. Otherwise, when we just do a verse a day and we forget what we did yesterday, we are jivas of Kali Yuga. We don't even remember what we ate for lunch today. So yesterday was 24 hours ago, which was a full lifetime for us. But thank you for putting everything in perspective and then taking us through, and then from Narada's questions to Brahma's answers, from the invocation in the beginning and then to conclusion. What I loved is when you said that Arjuna told Krishna, make me understand. I mean, I don't understand, but make me understand. When we don't understand things, we just leave them and then not worry about it. But I think asking questions and then introspection on them is the key and the message that is coming out from today's topic. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
I will open it up to the group and see if there are any questions or comments or reflections.
Yeah, please. Lovely.
I think we've run out of time, so maybe devotees. But we had
Hare
a
Krishna.
question yesterday. Oh, okay. Indulekha Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you so much. As Mataji said, it's very nice way of making us understand. Sometimes I try to do that, but not in that nice way that you have done it. Thank you so much. And then one thing that I realized when you said that we go to the temple, we see the deities, we go to the deities, make sure that the deities also kind of come to us, right? So sometimes, you know, India, the manner is so full, so many people on festivals day, we don't get to see the deities. It's okay. The deities, the Lord knows that we are there. And there is a very nice little story about it. There was one blind man, he would go to the temple every day, every single day. So sometimes people were looking at him and laughing. You are blind. Why are you going in front of the Lord? So he said, it doesn't matter, I'm blind. I cannot see the Lord. The Lord can see me, right? So in this way, when even there's no place to go in the temple room and to look at the deities, we are there, and we know that the Lord knows we are there, and we appreciate that also. So thank you very much, Prabhuji, for this nice class. Please do come again, please.
I hope
Thank
to,
you.
yeah.
Yes, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Any other comments or reflections?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
I was just thinking, if devotees like, I can share them my resources, the PowerPoint. If the devotees like, they can make their own notes on this too. It'll help them in their studies to getting more deeper into the Bhagavatam.
Yeah. So I had a question on that triangle slide.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, if we can go back to it. I
Yeah.
didn't understand it. Were these the three modes?
No, these are not the three modes. These are all problems. So Parikshimaj, he suffered hunger and thirst. He was overwhelmed. It was problematic for him. He was in a tough situation. There was nothing positive at that point in time. Shringi, you know, not only was he cast the saintly king, he was also the simple reaction he occurred is explained, and also he made a fence because Krishna can't tolerate a fence being made to his devotees, so he's a offender also. And then also Shomaka Rishi, he had the dead snake around the neck. You know, he was also suffered a little reaction, and also because he's the son, the father of Shringi, then also he takes that karma too. You know, he should have known better. He's the father too. So each of them are all invertedly they're all in the adverse situations, that none of them at this point in time are having a positive effect. But we can see how it's like a Rubik's Cube, you know, when we shuffle it around, one who knows, you know, Tadvidi Pranipatina, when he shifts it around, he sees everything as Krishna, and it's a blessing. And not only was this a blessing, this was a blessing for the whole universe, you know, because this is the point where Srimad Bhagavatam is explained, you know, this should, how can you make something Srimad Bhagavatam so serious for the universe, not for just us, but for everything in creation, by making a worse disaster, making a worse scenario that everybody is just like, you know, Parikshit Maharaj, Shomaka Rishi, none of them are in the beginning in a favorable situation. Later, this it so happens due to circumstances that Parikshit Maharaj is able to fast for 7 days. He sets the right example. So we see not only that he takes to the learnings of Bhagavatam, but he also becomes a Bhagavata by learning it from the Bhagavata. The passive Bhagavata is Sukadeva Goswami. So it's just to elaborate, just that the yellow, the red, and Somakarishi as green, all in adverse situation, they're all in a bad situation at that point in time. And Krishna, it's all happening under Krishna's arrangements. This situation is not just like this, doesn't happen by chance. But Krishna changes everything around, so the dynamics all change.
Thank you very much for that explanation. I think the previous slide was talking of the three modes
Yeah,
and the
it
colors. So,
kind of, yeah,
so
yeah.
I just because we rushed through it. So, but thank you
Yeah,
so much
sorry.
for clarification. And as you were talking, you were talking of the master and master being Krishna and the material energy, or the three modes of material energy as the servants. And it is still master and servants for us jivas as well.
Yeah.
Only thing is that the three modes of nature are the master and we are the servants. So
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you very much for that point. I think we have exhausted our time for today.
Yeah.
Can I request Prashanatma Prabhu, are you able to end the session for today? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, thank you so much, Devarsi Prabhu, for wonderful class, wonderful session. Thank you also for all the devotees for giving your time, come to this Sangha, to be together and to associate as devotees and have good Krishna Katha to enable us to enhance our spiritual lives. I also liked the line there, rather what you said about being near to the deities, but it's more important also to be dear to the deities, or to interact with the deities. So thank you so much, Prabhu. It's been a very inspiring class, and nice to hear from you. Thank you also for giving us darshan of Radha Banki Bihari Nairobi. Thank you so much. I request all the devotees to please unmute and chant the Hare Krishna mantra in glorification of His Grace Devarsi Prabhu. Please let's chant Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Kripa
kripasindhubhaiva
Sindhu cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, हिज ग्रेस देवऋषि दास प्रभु जी की जय। हरे कृष्णा,
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you
so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.